Hey guys, how's it going? CoreData here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're playing some more cards, and we're taking a look at a very interesting deck in the most recent metagame, and that is Soviet Britain Control. So why exactly did I land on Soviet Britain Control? So the primary reason is we have a bit of a rock, paper, scissors metagame going on at the moment between the three top decks, which are Japan, Poland, Legions. We have Germany, France, Bretagne, and Brit, US, Buffs, Tempo. Essentially how it's working, at least in from what I've experienced myself, is that the Intel deck beats Buffs, Buffs beats the Germany-France deck, and the Germany-France deck beats Intel pretty consistently. That's kind of how the metagame goes. So I really wanted to have a deck that I could pilot that was at least favored into the top three decks, which is why I landed on this specific build of Soviet Britain Control. This is very, very good into the Germany-France deck and the Legions deck. It's a little bit worse into Buffs, but that's just how that matchup tends to go anyway. You're very much heavily reliant on drawing a specific handful of answers early in the game to answer the fast Buffs starts. But as the game goes longer, the deck becomes more and more favored, so it's a case of weathering the early storm to stabilize and win the game off the back of the value the deck can generate. The deck itself is very, very interesting. I'm going to talk very quickly about the tech cards that we're running. For the current metagame, we are playing 3 copies of National Fire Service and 2 copies of HMS Scepter. These are a little bit targeted, but also quite flexible in a lot of senses. National Fire Service basically is a fog, if you've played Magic. When you take damage, or it works a bit like Solid Alibi in Hearthstone, if you're familiar with that card. When you take damage, for the rest of the turn, you can only take 1 damage at a time, which means if your opponent is planning to hit you with a big burst of damage, this basically completely nullifies it. So, for example, if your opponent goes for the Bretagne second front thing, and it's turn 10, they've got 2 Bretagnes, they go to Bismarck you for 28, you'll only take 3 damage. You'll take 1 damage from the Bismarck and 1 damage from each of the Bretagnes, as opposed to taking the full 28. Which means this can really defang the OTK deck. It's also very good at buying you time versus Legions to get you towards your Monasteries or your bigger board clears. And against Buffs, this is very, very good at buying you, similarly to Legions, it's very good at buying you turns to find your answers in that specific matchup. So National Fire Service is actually quite widely applicable, at least versus the top 3 decks right now. It sucks in control mirrors naturally, but sometimes it does come up where your opponent will try to get you with like a big matchy, or they'll try and burn you out, and the Fire Service just buys you enough time to get your opponent on the crackback. Similarly, HMS Scepter is another targeted card specifically for Germany-France. Again, Germany-France is a bit of a control killer, which is why we're playing HMS Scepter. We are playing Scepter over Doubting System. Doubting is very, very good at hitting very specific pieces, but the issue I have with Doubting, it's very dead in a lot of matchups. Versus decks such as Shuffle, for example. Shuffle, Legions, or anything slightly more tempo-based, Doubting does absolutely nothing. It is only good in specifically the Germany-France matchup or other control mirrors where you're looking to hit a big, you're looking to counter like a big order, like a front formation out of like the Soviet mirror. So Doubting, while Doubting is incredibly good into Germany-France, it is one of the worst cards you can possibly have versus things like Legions or Shuffle, which is why I am playing HMS Scepter. It is nowhere near as targeted, which means it's a lot easier to play around Scepter, but it has much wider applications in much more matchups. As you'll see throughout the video, that Scepter catches a bunch of stuff that Doubting wouldn't, and also it's cheaper than Doubting, so it's a little bit easier to hold up in a lot of cases. Primarily, our plan is to have this in hand for turn 8, so when our opponent goes for Bretagne second front, we can catch the second front with Scepter, and then clear up the Bretagne on the following turn. But again, it has application in other matchups, again, as you'll see later on in the video. And the final piece of tech in the deck is the 2 copies of Forward Observers. This is basically a 4k 2 damage AoE. This is primarily in here for the aggro matchup, so Jagro and Shuffle, but it also has applications versus very specifically Intel, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. The draw trigger on this, we pretty much never activate, but we don't care. It's literally in here just to buy us time versus aggro and act as a board clear in that sense, until we can get to our late game. As for the rest of the deck, we are playing quite a few cards from Homefront, as well as a number of cards that came back in the rotation. We are playing a pretty substantial soup package, primarily to enable Silesia. So the soup package is going to be Gachina. Gachina is just a great unit in general. A bit of healing, also gives you a 5/2 body that you can use to trade in the front line, and later in the game you can also pressure decks that don't necessarily have very clean outs to it, like other Soviet decks, for example. Just Gachinas are just very, very solid elite. By no means super necessary, but definitely worth including if you have it. We are running 2 copies of Krakenes. Again, this is another piece of the soup package. Krakenes is just an insane on-curve guard, also like a decent tempo play in a lot of cases. Just ambush, guard, shock are 3 absurd keywords on an overstated 3-cost body. Just very, very powerful, and again, another piece of tech to activate our 44th Silesias. Silesia is a 3-cost 3/3 with ambush and blitz that draws you a card for each unit you have with 2 or more combat keywords. So frequently, this is one of our primary pieces of card draw in the deck, and it on average draws us about 2 cards. The ideal curve for this deck against most other decks is going to be turn 2 Honey, turn 3 Krakenes, turn 4 Silesia. That's kind of how this deck's early game wants to operate at best. We do have other things, obviously, we can do. We're playing a bunch of the standard Soviet control tools, but Silesia is one of our best card draw pieces, and we are playing a number of pieces to support this, such as 204th Guards. This is, again, another soup piece. It's got 2 keywords, and is just a very solid defensive body, again, versus decks like Shuffle, or like other aggro decks, or Frontline. 204th is very, very sticky, and very difficult to get rid of. Very good at proactively taking trades in the frontline. I'm also running 2 copies of 70th Brigade. Is 70th Brigade better than running like Fortification or Convoy? Probably not, but I really like 70th Brigade, and it's likely worse than playing either of those cards, but it feels good in the deck. It's very difficult to explain. That frequently it'll gain you 2 health and draw you a card like maybe once or twice over the course of a game, but that's frequently enough because it's able to soak damage, it's able to soak removal, it'll catch a suppression every now and again that would otherwise have gone into like an armor train that is much more impactful in like a lot of matchups. So yeah, it's hard to explain why this card feels good in this deck, but it does feel a lot better than just hard running Fortification. I would highly recommend testing it out, but likely you will be better served by just playing Fortification or Convoy. I will talk about another card you could run over this that I'm not running, just because I think it's a little bit lower impact, but I'll talk about that after, at the end. We're also running 1 copy of 5-Year Plan. This is one of the cards that came back in rotation. 5 credits and draw 5, your HQ takes 5 damage. This we will frequently not play in the majority of matchups, but in the handful of matchups where we do want to play this card, it is one of the most impactful cards in the deck. I don't think running less than 1, I don't think cutting this card is correct, but I also don't think running any more of it is correct either. I think 1 is the sweet spot. It's felt very, very good overall. As I mentioned, we don't necessarily need to play it in every matchup, but we have means of offsetting the HQ damage because we're running 3 copies of Honey, for example. So yeah, 5-Year Plan just ends up making a lot of the more marginal matchups a little bit more favorable, particularly decks like Legions, where we're going to be very aggressively spending removal. 5-Year Plan just gives us a 5 credit refill to like basically help us dig for the late game, like our late game clears that will give us advantages in the long term. Just a very, very good card. Again, I don't think I'd run any more or any less of it. I think 1 is the sweet spot. As for the top end, we're running a bunch of, again, things that synergize with Silesia, as well as just very, very good control tools. Armor Train is just an insane control piece. 5 cost, 3/7 heavy guard with heavy armor with guard, and it just spawns a light infantry at the end of each turn. Just very, very good. Korsun is just a solid guard. Naval Brigade, sorry, is a 6 cost 4/4 with 2 keywords that also just destroys a damaged unit. It is a Leaf Lurker from Tessel that also draws us a card with Silesia. Yeah, just again, piece of the soup core that we're running. T-34, 85, 1945. Again, another piece of soup for the deck, and just a reasonable win condition overall. Victory Banners is one of the best cards in 2 of the most problematic matchups, or in 2 of the matchups for the deck. One of them is one of the more problematic matchups, which we'll talk about in a second. But Banners is one of the pieces that makes Legions a very favorable matchup for us. And this is one of the reasons why we're running forward Observers as well. Versus Legions, historically, at least in the last patch during Naval Warfare, when Legions was super popular, with the loss of Depths of Winter, Soviet Control really struggled to answer Legion boards. you'd be able to piece together a clear for the first big Legion board, but the problem was the second Tarnow board would frequently be too much, or the Thunder Division board would be too much for you to deal with. But with the recent rotation and some of the new cards that we've got access to, it's become a lot more favorable for Soviets because we have access to victory banners. We can victory banners a large legion on the board, turn them all into 2/2 legions, and then just hit them with a forward observers, which is a 2-card 11k clear. But frequently we're going to be deep enough in the match that we'll have found the pieces by then. So this, alongside the returning Monasteer, ends up meaning we have two very clean outs to both of the big Legion boards, which has turned the Legion matchup into a pretty favorable matchup overall for this deck. So far on this deck, I've not lost to Legions, and I've played quite a few Legions matches. Just the addition of Monasteer plus the access to forward observers has really flipped that matchup on its head. And it's much more favorable for us now than it was previously, particularly because we can also go strategic focus plus forward observers, deal 7 to our opponent's board, which is usually enough to get through either the second or third Legion board. As for the rest of the deck, like I said, it is just good control stuff. We are playing Force Guards, we're playing Front Formation as our definitive win condition, and we're playing just some early game removal in the form of Bloody Sickle as well as Extended Barrage. As for the cards that we're not running, there are a number of things that are not in this deck, just because I don't think the deck really needs them. One of the primary cards you're going to notice a lack of in this deck is 336 Guys Naval. We're not running enough payoffs to make this worth inclusion. We're also not running things like the IL-10. We're not running 97th rifles either, the 1k Elite. We're not running a bunch of these small incremental value things because we don't necessarily need them. Our plan is to essentially control the board early, stack health with things like Honey, with 70 Brigade and 845th, and then win through Front Formation. That is how we're aiming to close games out, or just driving games to fatigue. The amount of times this deck will drive an opponent into fatigue and win through fatigue is enough to be relevant, as it turns out. So yeah, I don't think it's necessary to run Guards Naval in this deck. I don't think it's necessary to run Ilyushin. I think the Ilyushin and like the Cobras are much better in the Italy ally version where you're running Claim Disguise, because then there's at least more application for your aircraft in that specific version of the deck. This version of the deck in particular doesn't really need them. As for other cards you could be running in the deck, like I mentioned, there's a card you could probably run over 70th Brigade, and that is Blackwatch. Blackwatch, again, is a soup card. It's got 2 keywords, which means it activates your Silesia, and it slows down decks like Germany, France, for example. The problem is, again, it's very pigeonholed and very targeted towards specifically German France. It doesn't do that much versus the other more aggressive decks in the metagame. It doesn't do too much to buffs, doesn't do too much to legions, and doesn't do that much to decks like Shuffle, for example. So which is why I'm not running it. 70th Brigade is just much... 70th Brigade is a much more annoying thing to deal with than Blackwatch. It also comes down a little bit earlier, and it gives you card advantage, which is something you sorely need as a Soviet control deck. But yeah, overall, this deck is a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. This has been one of the strongest decks I've played this expansion so far. Again, it has positive matchups into the big 3 meta decks right now, with the worst matchup being buffs, primarily because the buffs gets to run things like Kangaroo Transport, which gives its infantry 2 keywords, which means it switches off Monasteer. That's like the biggest thing in the buffs matchup, is the Monasteers are not active most of the time. You're going to be leaning on your strat focuses, your banners, and your forward observers, as well as just fighting on board with things like Krakenas and 204th. But other than that, this deck is incredibly powerful. Like I said, very favorite in a lot of top decks, and a ton of fun. Highly recommend checking out. It's not the cheapest deck in the world, obviously. It's Soviet controlled, so you're playing pretty much Soviet Highlander with all the elites and specials. But yeah, if you can afford to play it, I highly recommend it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and on some games. We are up against Germany. It's probably going to be Germany, France. I think we keep this versus Germany, France. Krakenas is great. Turn 2 Honey, turn 3 Krakenas, turn 4 Silesia. Buzz Bomb. Oh, true. I need to fix that. I need to change them. Yeah, I completely forgot that those were a thing. Yeah, resistance. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is pure resistance or if this is going to be like just a Germany, France, Bretagne deck with some resistance stuff. Play the Krakenas. I mean, I'm not too worried about the Bretagne stuff because we have Scepter, we have Fire Service. We have means of countering Defend in Depth, sure. Removes Krakenas. Krakenas for 2. I think I still just go Silesia here and draw. We find Front Formation, which is good. Honey is so good. Honey being back in the format has changed a lot of things for like a lot of slower decks. It actually gives you a decent amount of healing. It's gonna play 70th. Do I play 70th? I don't know. I don't play 70th because cards in hand right now are not great. Push this. I think we just take frontline. We can play 70th next turn while also swinging. Can also get the train going. Resistance. Find another honey. Get down to 7. I need to be able to spend 2 cards next turn. I hold up Scepter on turn 8, or like on. So I'm holding up Scepter at the end of next turn to deal with like the Bretagne. I mean, I think I've got everything I need in hand. I don't care if I mill on the following turn. We'll try it. This might also just eat a suppression, which is okay. They've not played any productions or anything, so we should be okay for a Scepter next turn to try and catch the Bretagne out. Hipper. That's fine. So we do mill. So push this, play the honey. From the deep. Okay. Guess we'll just hold up Scepter then. We'll try and catch a Bretagne here. There's the Bretagne. There's the second front. No, sir. We have Fire Service. The funny thing is I can't actually immediately, like, answer it here. I'll try and catch the second one, I guess. I mean, they can just play plan to test. Play call. So they'll have the second one off the top this turn. But I mean, that's also fine because I have Fire Service in hand now. Yeah, it's just unfortunate we haven't drawn a piece of removal. A sickle, even last turn, would have been perfect. Okay. We're A-okay with the Henschel here. There's the barrage. The turn after. Go here. Barrage this. We have Monaster for the next Bretagne turn. For a rattle. Into plan. Into plan. To block. Like, I could just. Never mind. We top. Oh yeah, I forgot we barraged last turn, so I can't. I think we just go. Push. This might look strange, but I think this is correct. For one, it stops a crossfire ladder. Also means we're not going to mill, because we have to think about fatigue from here, I think. Yeah, exactly. Suppression, suppression. Hits me for 3. I'm also playing around capitulation a little bit here. I also need to be very wary of them going for just Bretagne plus, like, just Bretagne and burn. They go research. Like, I could just develop the front formation here, which I think I will. We no longer have any scepters in deck, but we do have fire service. Buzz bomb. Kriegsmarine. Naturally hits the highest impact card in my hand. Obviously. I can, yeah, I think I just go here. I think I might lose off the back of that Kriegsmarine. We're at 10, effective 9 with the front formation. Goes for oil, so they're looking to kill me with oil next turn, maybe? Just go Bretagne plus, like, Bismarck. So we are 100% holding up fire service this turn. I could play Vegechina. I'll just play rifles instead. Push the 1-8. Yeah, so if they're going for the Bretagne, like, if they're just gonna hard play Bretagne plus, like, Bismarck here, we have the fire service. And if they don't heal, they're dead to just the front formation trigger. Volksgren. Bismarck. Fire service. Yeah. Up against Soviets. Could be Soviet control mirror. These normally go to fatigue. Could be aggro, potentially. I'll keep the sickle in the off chance it is aggro. Our goal is to try and snipe the their front formation with doubting, or not doubting, with scepter. Go Zukov, find Corson. Kirkenes. No turn 1, no turn 2, so it's control. If I get Sheen off the top. This could get barraged. I don't know if it's worth barraging. Sickle. Push this. I think I just play the Kachina here. It's slow, but it's probably worth it. God, if Kachina had, like, 1 op, it would be so insane. They have Kirkenes. This is fine because I have the proactive one. Push here, go A45th. I can consider holding up Scepter on turn... Okay, well, never mind. I was gonna say, I could consider holding it up for turn 7 to catch, like, Victory Banners or a Strat Focus, or I could try and hold it for turn 9 for the, front formation. Up against Germany, again. We're gonna keep the Fire Service, we're gonna keep the Armor Train, I think. Honey is just a good 2-drop. Do I keep Armor Train? I think I do. Armor Train is just so good. There's like... There's a mild chance it's Heinz, but it's like 9 times out of 10 Germany, France. Yeah. Cuirassier. Front formation. This is okay, I play 204th next turn. There's no point pushing the honey. Because they're just going to play their 18th here. '96th. 204th does stop this. Big reason we're playing like 204th is because it has 2 keywords, which means it survives Monasteer and it's very, very good with Silesia. It's another piece of potential card draw. Defend in depth. Doesn't quite answer, and we have the Armored Train. Just play the Henschel. I can just Naval Brigade this. I mean, it's not unreasonable, I don't think. A Silesia off the top would be, like, insane here. Just a draw 3. Crossfire. It's fine. Scepter. Kirkenes. Take this trade. I can push the Naval Brigade. The ambush makes it very awkward to deal with. And we'll drop the Kirkenes. They haven't played any... They haven't. Okay. I have to double check for production in hand, just so they couldn't accelerate out the Bretagne. So yeah, it's going to be the same as last game. We're just going to hold the Scepter up next turn. Second defend in depth. This is gonna look weird, but I need to have this on board if they go for Bretagne plus second front, so I can actually get the Bretagne. Yeah. Otherwise, I have no immediate answer for the Bretagne. Oh. Right, I'm not gonna overcommit this board now because I'm expecting capitulation next turn. Just hurt my head, yeah. Yeah, there it is. So we just go front formation. It's so funny that it I telegraphed that so hard and they still did it anyway. Yeah, so we now have our front formation up and running. We've seen the capitulation, so we're... we can... Like, I can just get in for 5 here. Is it gonna matter getting in for 1? Any less is weak, supposedly. I mean, I think I go Honey. I go Kirkenes, I get in for 1. Arado. Draws the card. Suppression is fine. Arming on the Honey. Yeah. Push 2 for go for Liberation. I do believe the resistance... triggers before our front formation, so even if we do hit resistance after front formation, we'll always get the unpinned tank. We'll do this. Front formation is better than Blitz Doctrine. Oh, 100%. Endless front formation is endless value at the cost of health. Blitz Doctrine is a ton of value at like very little cost. So Blitz Doctrine is one of the strongest cards ever printed, but in terms of like a win condition, front formation is much more definitive. 70th. Like, I can victory banners and make a bunch of 9/9s. I've already seen capitulation. I think this is fine. We have the fire service for when they inevitably go for a second Bretagne turn. Call to the colonies, draw 2. Kriegsmarine hits 1 fire service, which is fine. I'll just hold up the scepter. Like, I don't really know if they have anything that could even bail them out in this situation, but I would rather, I'd rather not risk it. Yeah. It's... yeah. Oh, Japan. Okay, it's something different. Most likely going to be legions. I think I full keep this, because if this is like fine against legions, but this is a good hand against Jagro. So if it is Jagro, this is very good. Shuffle. Okay, yeah, Observers is going to be important this game. Get 845th down. They could have Motorisa here, plus dug in. Expansion to draw 2 is fine. This might look insane. Okay, no. I mean, I can still just do this, right? I was gonna... Because my trade priority here, funnily enough, is actually the dragons, because even if they go Motorisa next turn, Observers clears up this entire board because they're all 1 health. So, like, this is my priority trade right now. But the sickle makes this a little bit easier, so we always sickle here. Find 4th guards, trade here. Despite being a little awkward, has great yeah, this is actually one of the most important cards versus legions, as it turns out. Soviet Control struggled with the Legion matchup previously because it didn't have enough outs to the big boards. Monastery gives you a very clean out to the first Legion board, but that is frequently not enough. So usually what you end up having to do is play victory banners plus observers for 11. That's your second big board out, and that has completely flipped the Legion matchup for this deck. The Legion matchup is now one of this deck's best matchups, which is like insane. We can trade here, or I can just develop a 70th and force it to soak up damage. I think I'm okay with this soaking damage, because next turn they can like go Sabe, and then I barrage it. Like, they can ping here and go face for 3, but I think I'm, like, fine if they do that. This is very good for me. This sets up observers. They have double surprise attack. Yeah, this, I'm just gonna go for observers here. They can double surprise attack this now to remove it, and that's fine. Cavalry. Recon. Sasebo. Surprise attack, surprise attack. Yeah. We just go honey. Do we go honey here? I can go honey, I can go sickle on this. I can hold up Scepter to potentially catch out a Sabe plus Shuffle trigger. I could also... No, I can't go 70th plus plus sickle and then hold up the Scepter. I need to... I think I need to hold up Scepter. I don't think I care about this. I think I care much more about the Sasebo. This might seem really, really weird, but I think this is probably the correct line. Type 93, yeah. There it is. Play your Duggan. Don't think so. This is why I much prefer... This is why I'm so much bigger on Scepter than Doubting. Oh, I've been disconnected from chat. That's crazy. There we go. It's back. Yeah, so now I can just barrage this. We can go 4th cards. I can also just play the Kachina and trade here. Or I can just play the Kachina and leave it smoke screened. Which I think I will. I take the ping, but that's fine. Yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anything. Fairly sure I didn't, though. See Anne. Anne goes face. Take 5. Strat focus is very good, like, next turn. I can trade here first. I'm always playing 70th, I think. It's unfortunate I have to take another 5 from the Anne. Yeah, I'm always playing 70th here. And I'm likely just going to go for Strat Focus, hit air. That's fine. They give me the draw. flood the board first, play shuffle last for maximum damage. Basic guarantees Scepter runs the turn. Yeah. I think this is just strat focus hit air. Okay, well. Writing's on the wall. It's probably going to be legions, right? Like the Polish card back makes me think it's like Brit Poland. We'll keep the Silesia. We'll keep a 45th just as a body. Fungal, all the same. Frost on all surfaces. Yeah, we've been lucky enough here that we had like 1 week of really bad snow. But we haven't had snow since. Just frost, essentially. We had like 2 or 3 foot of snow over the course of like a week, but it's been just pretty fine since. Yeah, this is some kind of value or control list. I'm gonna go Kirkenes. Next turn, we're just gonna go Silesia, draw 2. Push the Kirkenes. MI5 tops the guards. That's unfortunate. It's been 18 Fahrenheit for 3 days. No snow, but yeah. I had snow back today. Since the first snow melted quite fast in Finland. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm guessing you guys probably had the same thing we had here. We'll draw 2. I meant to push the Kirkenes, not the Silesia, but it's fine. I'm streaming. No one expects me to play properly. Home guard takes the bond damage to garrison. Actually, this shockingly works out a little bit better for me because it means I don't break the shock on the Kirkenes. Push the Kirkenes. I can, I will. This gives them a decent Monty. Observers kills the Kirkenes, which is fine. I guess in the North Finland, the Arctic Circle, there's snow for a while, but okay. That was a second home guard? It was. So they have another garrison. I mean, I could just play the T-34, but it likely just gets hit with wolves, right? I have the sickle to clear the garrison. I just sickle trade with this. I can hold up Scepter this turn. Like, what do I like? What orders do I care about out of this deck right now? I guess I will hold it up just to deny, like a convoy or something. Second observers is gone. That's nice. They go garrison. Carpathians. That is unfortunate. Extended barrage. I mean, I can just play 4th guards and Scepter. I want them to take the front line so I can play the T-34. Long grind head, yeah. This is going to be a very slow matchup. We should win it because we have we are playing front formation, so in a long game we're favored. I just don't know realistically what to play around here. Like, we have the 5-year plan, but we're pretty much probably not going to play it this matchup. Like, this doesn't stop this doesn't stop wolves, which is the problem. They're definitely running 2 wolves, so. Body of their own. Ulan takes a ping, which is fine. Fire service doesn't do anything for me here. I will just ping this off. Playing Ultra, okay. I just push, right? I can push and barrage the honey. I'm assuming, given that it's a slower Brit Pol deck, like they're not playing Intel, which means they're likely playing carpet bombing wave after wave. Like we've seen 2 forward observers come out already. So I'm expecting an amount of AoE. I can barrage the honey. Or I can I'll barrage the Carpathian and I'll keep up the scepter. Again, wolves is like the big thing. It's like their primary removal piece. Oh, Queen Zone, okay. Queen Zone into double trade. Five-year plan mills me a card. But am I okay with that? Wave after wave, such a powerful card. Breaks my back every time. It is. Yeah, wave was like the first elite I ever crafted in this game. I'm tempted just to play 845th and 5-year plan. Because I don't necessarily care about milling a single card. It's like, what's the likelihood that I mill exactly front formation here? Alright, the answer is 100%. The answer is we 100% mill front formation in this situation. There you go, Land Girls. Denuda. If the one card we mill is front formation, I am actually going to be so annoyed. Second Land Girls. They mill. Punish. Oh, okay, we don't mill. We don't mill. This is fine. Okay, 70th Brigade. I can barrage here. Do I care about the Denuta more than the Queen Zone? I think I do. Which means I'm probably barraging the Denuta here. Barrage here. Sickle this. Find 204th. I'll go 4th guards. Hold up scepter. Oh, the cavalry regiment, yeah. Oh, hello. Increases card costs. This is annoying. It looks weird, but I think this is the best way to clear the Lancaster, because I can just move the honey and forward observers next turn. I'm taking another tick of like things being more expensive. Scepter is fine on that. That's fine. Second Denuta. Place it on the wrong side of the HQ though. This is a very awkward matchup. There's the wolves. Denies the card draw here. The most annoying thing about this is that Monastery does not affect either of these. Gina. I'm gonna absolutely have to push the Kachina here, I think. Do I? I can just put it in the back line. The 4 TP spawns removes this. This trades here, or the Nerd can trade here. This pushes forward. Do I even play the Kachina this turn then? I think I just hold. Them having both the Nudas has been a little bit annoying. But I do want to, I do need them to at least try and take frontline here. Push the wolves. Carpathian. Okay. Front formation. Perfect. Okay. Oh, chat. Oh, okay. Right. They've got 2 credits floating. What are the odds that I play front formation and it gets sceptered? What are the odds it gets sceptered here? One. I can risk it. The thing is, well, I mean, I'm ahead on fatigue, so technically I should still win. It's fine. We'll risk it. I'm so good at the game. Okay, we should hopefully win the game from this position. We have more health, we have healing. They now have to, like, pressure us. Wolves on the Krakenas. Yeah. That's both wolves gone, so that's good. Ooh, banners. I think I go Gachina here. Take this trade. Honey is a great draw because it offsets the front formation damage. Gachina banners. Yeah. The thing is, I don't want to get too far ahead on fatigue damage. Middlesex Regiment. Into Garrison. Into Radar. Just because right now this long game favors me immensely. They're getting down to the point of being decked out, so... Desert Dust. Mustang. I can turn literally all this into Middlesex, so that's fine. Monastery. Monastery destroys everything except Queen's Own. Is this worth monasterying? It might be. I mean, I lose my 845th. I could just turn them all into Middlesex Regiment. I want to keep my 845th here, just in case. Belfast was the 845th on top. Punish ditches the fire service, which is fine. Go like this. Yeah, pretty much. I'm aiming for them now to commit into the monastery. 204th now survives. Fog of War. This is perfectly fine with me. Sure. So they have a... So they've got a 206 now, right? Or 204th, rather. So that will survive the monastery. They top decked it immediately. Iron Division. I am okay with the Iron Division surviving. The Iron Division draws them closer to fatigue. .206 push is bad for them. Convoy. To plan. They're digging for something. Second fog. So now I just go here and here. I could just fire service. Like, we've seen Lancaster, we've seen Mustang. What am I worried about? Like, Wellington's not in the game anymore. They could be playing, like, a single copy of the big Lancaster, I guess. So I'll hold this up just in case. The healing isn't going to matter here because, again, we're 9 cards ahead on fatigue. MI5, fire service on top. They're now completely out of cards. Iron Division push into Carpathian. Like, this I think is just a monastery, no? Yeah. It was getting close, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. The deck is a ton of fun, like I mentioned, and very, very good in the current metagame. I highly recommend testing it out if you have access to these cards. But other than that, not too much to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff like I said before, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.